here's where you're at. Here's what you need to learn if you want to start a side hustle, if you want to look at buying a business. We work with service members that are looking at getting into full-time entrepreneurship through business buying. It's kind of a holistic approach, and it's a detailed roadmap to get them from where they're at, what their cash flow is now, to financial freedom.
Welcome to Mastering the Numbers. I'm your host, Joe Mallo. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Mastering the Numbers. I am Joe Mallo with Elite Edge Consulting Group, powered by Focal Point Business and Executive Coaching. Uh, Really pumped to have my guest on today, Cory Reiser. He's the founder of School of Grit. We had a chance to have a couple conversations over the last week, so I was excited to have him on the podcast. Cory, thank you very much for taking part in the interview.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, can you do us all a favor and maybe expand a little bit on School of Grit and what it's all about?
Sure. So I created School of Grit. So I was in the military for about 10 years. Probably year like 6 or 7, I started getting an itch of thinking that there was something else out there that, I wasn't really completely satisfied in my profession anymore. A lot of things had been going on. It was COVID. It was kind of chaotic. And I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew that in whatever it was that I wanted to do, money would be a consideration because you leave a profession, you got to figure out how you're going to put, food and water on the table and keep a roof over your head. So I started learning. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, a couple of these great books that were very like actually life-changing for me. I started thinking differently, developing a different mindset about money and wealth. And I basically came to the conclusion like, well, all these other people have done this. They've all built businesses. They've all become, financially successful, financially free, independently wealthy, whatever you want to say. So I kind of put my hat in the ring and I started building my own. I built a side hustle, which at the time was a short-term rental company, and started investing in real estate, starting with my VA loan, and then really just educating myself. So after that, about 2 to 3 year time frame, I exited the military completely financially free, and it changed my life. It changed my perspective. I was able to travel and really find my purpose through that whole process. The first stuff kind of just put food on the table, and then now what I'm doing with this is more purpose driven. So I say that as like a background, as that's kind of like our avatar customer is somebody who is not sure where they want to go, but they know that money and financial freedom is going to be a relevant, like the most relevant consideration. And our School of Grit is what we do is we help service members to achieve financial freedom. So we go through the education, the process, benefits, like maximizing the benefits. The biggest one is obviously the VA loan, seeking mentors, creating and building their own brand, which is going to help them to get new opportunities. And it's really like a holistic approach to basically educating yourself in a certain way that builds your mindset to know that you can provide for yourself and your family outside of your normal 9 to 5 and job. So it's kind of a comprehensive system, a lot of different um, options and resources for service members. But
Yeah.
really, what it is just helping them to change their mindset about wealth and financial independence and starting it while they're on active duty so that through that transition process, it's a little bit easier because they're not as obsessed with or fearful of money. Long
And you,
explanation.
no, that's
Uh,
okay. No, I like it. And you're working with current and former military
yeah. So
personnel,
we,
right? Okay.
yeah. So our process, like it's most relevant um, to active duty service members because while you're on active duty, you get, 20% of your paycheck is already tax free. And like I talked with the VA loan, like it's just a compounding effect. Like if you're able to buy a property with zero money down and use your tax-free housing stipend to pay down that mortgage, your dollar goes farther than it would if you didn't have that benefit.
Yeah.
So it's tremendously powerful. So it's you can get there, I believe, faster while starting on active duty. But I mean, we've got veterans that are working W-2 jobs or like I don't. market to any one specific demographic. It's just if you're stuck at your, if you come to a crossroads, I want to show you the road, like the road less
Yeah.
traveled, and show you that
Yeah.
other people that are just like you that have been in the same situation have already been down that road, and it's proven.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that, getting into the next place. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've run into since starting the organization?
Completely, it's a very large muscle movement to completely change the mindset of service members from like it's kind of just a fact. And I talk like, wealthy and like poor mindset. It's just that there's the military and a lot of jobs in general, but specifically the military, we're always just trained to follow orders, and there's one way of doing something, and it's very fixed. And money is almost seen as like a negative thing, like it's correlated with like, oh, if that person has money, like they probably got it like unjustly, or like it's like it's that it's a fallacy. Like it's not real. Like if you're a good person, like money makes you, the thing I say all the time is like money makes you a richer version of the person you already are. So if you're not a good person, it makes you a worse person, and it's a magnifier. If you're a good person and you come into more money and you build wealth, it allows you to do more good in the marketplace and in the world. That's the biggest like hurdle to overcome is the mindset, because
Yeah.
it's so hard to get people to see it, but once they see it, they latch onto it and they're like, oh my God, like it's like the whole new world, like the rays of sunshine come down and it's like everything opens up. But it really is like changing the mindset of service members that it's okay to make more money. It's okay to build wealth while serving on active duty or as a veteran. Like it's it has a negative connotation, is like we always just do everything. And I've faced the same hurdles myself. Like I didn't feel comfortable making money. I didn't feel comfortable investing or talking about money. Like um, it's a very fixed mindset, and overcoming that to getting people to realize that you can live in an abundance mindset,
Yeah.
and that it's okay to do that. In fact, it's actually, I think it should be encouraged, because you're creating more, you're creating opportunities, you're creating jobs. If you're a landlord, you're providing a better home than somebody else could have provided because you're going to do a better job. Like it's kind of just like flipping the script on it.
I think mindsets, I think regardless of your career path, mindset's probably the biggest thing to hold people back. So
It is.
even in school, it could be anywhere from school through the workforce, you name it. Um,
Everything is designed either by design or just seemingly by design, but everything is designed to kind of keep you stagnant and keep you
yeah,
as like a pawn, like just there.
right.
But realizing, like I say this a lot, is like I say two things. Like your um, if you're in a community, right? So like the veteran community, the only way that the veteran community gets better is if somebody from that community makes it out and then reaches back and says, "Hey, follow me."
Yeah,
And then I kind of use that in like at the same time I say nothing will change until somebody changes it. We won't have, if people complain about tough working conditions or bad bosses or X, Y, or Z, and you're complaining, that's not going to fix itself until somebody builds a competing business that provides
yeah,
more value and that treats its people better. So I firmly believe in the ability, like if you can, then you must. Like I believe I can build a big business with School of Grit, and I can employ people more gainfully where they live with the business in like on their purpose. Like this is a stepping stone to getting them to where they want to go, or they just enjoy their day. Like they just enjoy
yeah,
working here and serving and doing whatever. So like I see it like kind of multifaceted. Like, yeah, it'll generate revenue, it'll build business, and it'll serve people. But even on the employee side, like on the team side, is I want to create a better place where people don't absolutely hate their life like every day.
yeah.
Like I think it can be done, and maybe I'm just
Yeah.
dumb enough to think that way and smart enough to make it happen. But
Well, listen, I mean, the most productive places are happy employees. So
Yeah.
it's amazing how productivity dives when people aren't happy. So,
Yeah. And
but,
that's just what I've come to. I don't like complaining. I don't think I have any right to ever complain about anything. And I just, you're either solving the problem, you're making it better, or you're taking away from it and you're making it worse.
agreed. Well, so is there anything in the growth of School of Grit? Is there anything you would have done differently in starting or growing the company to this point? Kind of
Um,
hindsight 2020.
yeah, I'll be honest. So when I had my short-term rental company, that was pretty simple. It was we provided places for people to stay, and they either liked them or they didn't. There was no real like culture. It was clean. It was, aesthetic. It was a good location. Like it was very simple. And people would just either book or they wouldn't book. With this, it's more so like I really have to get people interested in it or find the people that are wanting to be interested in it. So it's a new type of business for me. So I'm still very much like we're at the beginning essentially.
Yeah.
I've already walked the path. I already know, like I can tell people where, like I can guide them down the path. But it's been very interesting to like find our avatar customer. Frustrating at times too, because it's like, how do you attract them? How do you incentivize them? How do you get them to listen? Um, and it's been a challenge, but the through like even conversations that I've had with you earlier today, like I'm a student of the world. Like I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly like I like learn and then I do and learn and do. And that method has worked a lot. Like you're constantly iterating, you're constantly changing things and once you figure out something that works, you use it. So it's a lot of beta testing, it's a lot of like trial and error, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but I believe so strongly in what it is that we're building that all that stuff kind of it's a tough road, but it makes it worth it. Because like I've had people tell me off the internet that I helped change their life, and I don't think you can really put a price on that, even if it's one person.
I don't think so. Yeah. And we just need so many more people just like you and your organization are doing that. So, how does School of Grit raise money for for the mission that you're working on?
So we do it primarily through, and this is all stuff that we're continuing. Most of the stuff that we offer is just free education.
Yeah.
But we're building out. We started our financial. We have two different types of coaching. We've got VA loan specific, which gets you from zero to your first property, and we specialize in house hacking, which if you're not familiar with, it's basically you buy a single family home or a duplex or triplex, quadplex, something residential, and you either rent out the rooms in the single family, and you're basically like thinking of those as tenants, as your roommates, and they pay down your mortgage and your expenses, or at least bring your expenses down to a minimum. And then a year later, after you fixed it up a little bit, you move out and rent it. So you're just kind of rinsing and repeating. And then on the other side, we do financial freedom coaching, which is a 36-month long haul of here's the steps that you need to take to get from wherever you're at. And the VA loan is a part of that process. But here's where you're at. Here's what you need to learn if you want to start a side hustle, if you want to look at buying a business. We work with service members that are looking at getting into full-time entrepreneurship through business buying. It's kind of a holistic approach, and it's a detailed roadmap to get them from where they're at, what their cash flow is now, to financial freedom. So we've done those two coaching classes. Um, and then additionally, we've got other small paid resources like tips and tricks and guides, and a lot of that stuff we just give out for free.
Yeah.
Um, and then we also were a NMLS lender on the VA, on like the
Okay.
on the side.
Okay. Great. So, I guess to take it a little bit different direction, what are your biggest motivators in building this organization?
But freedom. Like I know that's a big word, but my background. So Um, through COVID, I know I say this a lot. I really never talked about this openly. I kind of just kept it to myself, but because it gets very over politicized and I really, I don't like going one way or the other. It was just the decision for me. But I think everybody faces a similar decision in their life. So I never went through, I never got the vaccine and I left the military. I got an honorable discharge, but I left voluntarily. And a lot of other people that didn't get it or they didn't want it or whatever, it was they were kicked out or separated. And if you take that decision out of it and you just say there's a decision, at some point in time, somebody or something, an entity, a government, a boss, whatever, will make you, they'll put you in a situation that you really necessarily don't want to be in, or you don't want to make a decision, or you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do. And push comes to shove, you're either going to say, I can't go anywhere. I don't have any other options or opportunities, or I have to do the thing that I really don't want to do and live outside of what I believe in and you do it even though you don't want to. And the number what I kind of came to the conclusion is whatever decision that is for you, you are going to make that decision and either do it or don't do it based off of one factor, and it's just money. Because the thing that's going to say, screw off, I'm not doing this, if you don't have a backup plan or if you don't have enough capital or enough income or whatever to go the other way and say, I don't agree with this, I'm not going to do it, whatever that is for you, or I just don't like doing this and you can't make me do it. The delineation, like the factor is going to be money. And
Yeah.
for me specifically, it was I had bought properties for 2 or 3 years prior, like leading up to that date when I left. And I asked my real estate agent, which seems crazy at like looking back on it, but I'd asked her, I was like, hey, if I had to liquidate everything right now and I needed to get out, how long would it take and how much would I have? And she's like, you would probably close on everything in 60 to 90 days if we lifted it for today, like pretty easily. And she's like, based off of the value of your property after taxes, no 1031 or anything crazy, you'd have 100 grand. And I was like, wow, okay, that's a salary. That's my year salary, more than my year salary. I was like, I now have the freedom for the next year of my life to not do anything other than just sit in my house and live at the same standard of living. And it was that fundamental shift of I knew that I had enough money to take care of myself that drives everything that I do now because I want more people to live more authentic lives and live doing the things that they want to do. And I believe in that. And that's like aside from money, I just had this conversation 10 minutes ago. I was like, I have everything that I need in life. I have my farm. I'm over the moon happy. Like I don't need anything else. I genuinely feel that School of Grit is like a calling and a purpose for me because I want more people to feel like I do on a daily basis. I want more people to have the confidence to know that if they don't want to make a decision that they don't, like that whatever, like they're just not comfortable with or whatever it
Yeah.
is. They're like, oh, I hate my job. I'm not going to work here anymore. I want them to have the confidence to know that they can go out and do whatever it is that they want to do and that I can help them teach themselves to go do it.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's
So
deep
many,
rooted in me. Like,
right. There's so many people out there that get stuck in work situations because they think there's nowhere else to go. Right.
yeah,
So they just deal with it and they're unhappy and
yep.
you know,
It's
so,
a it's a vicious cycle. And like what I think like optimistically is like what happens if you make the world 1% happier? Like if you get people to be like, does that make if somebody is now not frustrated at work and they're a husband and father, do they become a better husband and father because now they're not bringing their, work issues home? And if they
right, they
have a
do.
hard life because they're choosing entrepreneurship, they're choosing to do that so they understand that it's going to be a struggle, but it's the struggle that they get to choose versus my boss sucks and he's yelling at me every day and nothing's ever good enough. And then I come home and like one thing that my kid does, like it just sends me over the edge.
Yeah.
If you didn't have all that stress at work, that guy could be a better, more empathetic father. Like maybe he just has a better relationship with his kid and doesn't take out stress on his kids. Like I think of like like scenarios like that where I'm like, I think I can solve like not the problem for him, but like get somebody to be in harmony with like everything aligns. And they're just like, I'm happy. Like if I can be happy, I think that I can help other people to find that.
Yeah, I think I mean, absolutely. If someone could put everything together from family, friends, health, work, savings, income, things of that nature, that it could be such a better path. So it's when you're missing one of those that it hurts everything.
Yeah.
So if one's not there, so how do assuming there's other organizations like yours out there, and I'm not sure that there are or aren't, but assuming there are, how do you separate yourself from the other organizations?
I've had this conversation. That's a great question. I've had this conversation internally with myself and also with other people. And there's another company out there. It's Active Duty Passive Income, ADPI, and they're in the space. There's a ton of other companies. I was on the SABM podcast, Service Academy Business Mastermind. Everybody's kind of in the financial education, wealth building through real estate and whatever. I don't see any of them. Honestly, like I'm a competitor. Like I like winning. Great. But at the same time, I don't see anybody that's helping the cause as a competitor. I see actually everybody in the space, not that they're not good, but we're failing the collective because less than 15% of service members and veterans will use their VA loan. That's a massive, that's like half of I think the national average is like 30 or 40% of home ownership is like the civilian counterpart. So we're less than half of that, and the VA loan is it's the best loan product out there. I have these two friends are out in Arizona. They have a $160 million commercial portfolio, and I told them what I was able to do with the VA percentage wise, and like and cash on cash return, everything else. I explained it to them. They were like, "That's phenomenal." They're like blown away that I had the returns that I got, and I put no money down, everything else. And that's a huge problem. And all of the stuff that's out there is still not really chipping away at that. So I don't really see it as rising tide raises all ships or, wherever that adage is.
Right.
I see it as that. Like, I don't see it as like I'm Marriott and they're Hilton. And also using that analogy, Marriott and Hilton can operate on the exact same corner. You ever seen a Marriott and Hilton a couple blocks away from each other? They're both
Yes,
multi-billion
sir.
dollar companies. How does that
Yep.
happen? Right? It's like there's so much blue ocean out there. But what I will say to answer your question directly, the stuff that I believe in 100% authenticity. Like that's what's helped me grow on social media. Like when people talk to me or they message me or whatever, and I'm like, what? Because I'll ask them like, what was it that? Why did you reach out to me? Why did you book a call? Why did you? I was like, you just seem like you're a good guy. Like you just seem like you've walked the talk. Like it's the leadership principle of I will not ask anybody to do something in coaching or whatever that I have not done personally, and I've done a lot, or I would do given the situation.
Yeah.
And sticking to that is, I don't think that that exists. I think a lot of people just sell. I think they
Yeah.
say, oh, here's your options, blah, blah, blah. Like to my core, like I know how hard it is to have a full-time job, be in the army, be in the field, be sweaty, disgusting, and still on your break, take out a notebook and write down your goals and take out ear pods and on a 30-minute break, instead of just, BSing, I put in a podcast and I'm listening and I'm learning.
Yeah.
I said this before. I've gone into contract from the field, like from the middle of the woods in Kentucky, signing documents on my phone with like camo and like face paint on. And it's just like you're choosing to do that. Like I was driven by something else, and I didn't like I wasn't gonna let anything get in my way. I was like and that's the mentality that you need to be successful with this stuff. Is you have to be. I call it the it factor, initiative and tenacity. That's what I have, and that's what I can explain to people. It's like I can't give that to you. I can teach you I can teach you how to buy a home. Like I can teach you what to look for. I can go over the inspection with you and like look for good rents and whatever. I can't want it more than you do.
Yeah.
Like you have to want your dream more. But that's like it's just authenticity.
Yeah.
Um, is like I built it into all my branding, and I knew early on. Gary Vee had said this. He's like, just be yourself, because people like creators will burn out because it's so hard to not be yourself for only so long. I can make thousands. I have made thousands, but like I can make thousands more videos because it's just me. I can be myself every day of the week. So I think it's authenticity. If I were to answer it directly, is that's kind of what we I guess pride ourselves on is just understanding the customer really well because we are the customer and being like, yeah, man, I know this sucks. What I'm asking you to do is hard, but it's not impossible. And I've done this. Here's my rap sheet. And that guy over there and that girl over there, and they've all done it too. And they're no smarter or dumber than you are. Like you
Yeah.
can do this, but it has to come from within you. You got to
Yeah.
want it.
Yeah. They have to decide to make that choice to move forward. So,
Yeah.
where do you see School of Grit in the next 12 to 36 months?
Um, Increasing our presence in the market, increasing our revenue. Like it's something that when you talk dollars and cents, you have to be driven by that because that's the oxygen. If you don't have the oxygen, then the beast dies, right? I see it. I want to within the next 12 months, I want to build the School of Grit battalion, which is a battalion size is like 600 to 800, maybe 1,000 people. So I want to build a community of about 800 to 1,000 within the next 12 months. Increase our loans, increase our courses, increase our educational um, kind of not pipeline, but like our educational resources, like on our portal and stuff. Increase content and really just grow organically. And then the 24 to 36 months is where I really want to start getting service members into business buying. Like we've started our pipeline, very similar to what Cody Sanchez is doing. I went to actually one of her seminars, and she's basically like, "Take my answers and go do this."
Yeah.
Um, and I really see. I think that's the largest opportunity is service members buying service member owned businesses. So like boomer owned, Desert Storm, Vietnam era business owners, like boomers that are getting ready to retire, the wealth transfer from them to younger service members, and we provide the education, we provide the resources, the mentorship, and everything else, and the funding and the leads. It's like we find the businesses, we get them there, and then we put operators in place. It's nothing. It's a pretty common business model. But I see that in conjunction with like VA loan, house hacking, and entrepreneurship. It's not either or, it's and. So if you do VA loan, house hacking, and you go to buy a business, you're magnifying, you're leveraging yourself in a net positive way. You're learning and you're being able to take something that already exists and add to it. And you put in the initiative and the tenacity. So I see that really is increasing the lending, increasing our presence, ton more content, and then more resources for more people. And then the ones that are really committed is giving them opportunities to get into business buying with us. There's real estate development opportunities. Like it really, I say personally, like I have opportunities coming out of my ears. I need more people to put on more things and be like, dude, look at like I think it's important to say that too. Because
Yeah.
I think everybody today is doom and gloom, the sky is falling. And I'm over here like swimming in opportunities because of the way I've set up my life and the people I've chosen to put in my life. And teaching that to other people is um, beyond that level one financial freedom. You get there, so it's like food, water, shelter is paid for. Once you get there, you stand independently and you can truly go create value for other people. And people don't see you as a liability, like, oh, this guy just wants a paycheck. They start seeing you as a partner. They start seeing
Yeah.
you as like a force to be reckoned with. And you're really like you really provide a lot of opportunity or a lot of value and can create a lot of opportunity out of that. And that's where wealth really kicks in. That's where like you're being brought to the table to like, hey, I want you to be my partner on this. I want you to help me with this project. Like when you can stand alone, that freedom aspect allows you to be like, I don't want to be a part of this because this isn't within my, my purpose. This isn't within the stuff that I like. Or, I don't have to answer to my boss anymore. So now I can spend all of my time building my company. I can spend
Yeah.
all of my time mentoring new service members that are coming in and like really spending your time in a meaningful way because that's the most important quantity or quality or like commodity is time.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
yeah,
listen, I love the mission and I love how you're approaching it for sure. And I can't wait to hear more and more and more about it.
I
A
appreciate
couple final questions. So what's the best business advice anybody's given you to this point?
it. God, I've gotten so much. Um, I think there's two. Um, it's like it's a 1-2 punch. So when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, he starts and reframes the question of I can't do this because that's the easy way out, and he challenges you with how can I? So challenging yourself to say how can I do this is going to move you further down the road than saying, oh, I can't. I don't have the money to buy that. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't run a marathon. Well, how far can you make it? 100 meters, 200? What if you made it a mile? You're making progress, right? So it's how can I, not I can't. And then the second one is who, not how. It's who can help me get there. It's who can I put in charge of this to help move the company forward? Who can I go to for advice? Who can I go to for funding? It's those two. So it's like get out of your own way. How can I do this? And then once you've gotten past that, it's who can help me go the farthest. Oh, I need a marathon coach. That's what I need.
Right.
Who can build my diet plan? Who can help me do this? And that's how you get down to going from I didn't think I could run this marathon to like I actually did kind of good. Like I did sub 3 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that'd be it because it really it puts the onus on you
Right.
to and like it puts the world at your fingertips.
Yeah. Sure. So final question. Let's say you run into somebody that's a couple years into owning their own business. They're struggling. They're stressed. What kind of advice would you give them?
Probably the same advice that I would give myself. I just say keep going all the time. It is, and I say this like it's kind of a, what do I say, double-edged sword because it's like I work exponentially harder and exponentially more than I did in the army. Like I turned my brain off a lot in the army, right? It's just like you go home, you watch TV, you don't really do anything, right? It's choosing like what you see as hard. And there is like you're building like in those hours of misery and pain and suffering and everything else, you're building your you're building your tough skin, you're building your grit, you're building more. And then you're gonna realize like, oh, I didn't die. Like this didn't kill me. Like it was stressful, yes, of course. But you're building, that's your confidence boosters, is like going through something, not quitting. And because I also think you never, I say this a lot, is like you never lose anymore. Now that you know me, my mindset is like you either win or you learn. So like if you don't feel like you're winning, you're learning. And that's a real thing because only you determine if you win or lose. Like your perspective shifting, like you're moving it to be like, no, see, I learned through this whole process. And if that thing blows up in your face and it really sucks, but you did your best, the system is structured to allow you to take on risk and not
Right.
and not die, right? Like
Right.
it's designed to do that. It's like as long as you don't quit, it's a mathematical certainty that you're going to be successful. Maybe it might not be that business, but it's the quintessential like learning. It's a learning process.
Yeah.
Like just keep moving forward. We say in the army like move out, draw fire. Like it's a good analogy. It's like keep moving forward because if you stop, you're stagnant and you're easier to be targeted. But like if you just keep moving forward, the buffalo, go through the storm versus going the other way, and then you spend more time in the storm.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, hey, and I also like on that, I've been there. It
Yeah.
sucks. So I feel you, but it's okay. You're still learning and you're living. You have air in your lungs, so you should be excited about that.
Yeah. I like both sides of that advice. So, listen, I really appreciate you taking part in this interview series. It was great to learn more about your business and how
Yeah,
you're growing
absolutely.
it and some of the challenges and a bunch of the wins. But if anybody out there listening or watching wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Any of the social medias, you can DM me on LinkedIn. Um, you can send an email to us at info@schoolofgrit.co. It's .co. Or you can sign up for if you want to get signed up for our email blogs and some of our news blasts and stuff. That's on our website at schoolofgrit.co.
Awesome.
Yeah, any of those. I respond back to everything. So
Well, let's definitely stay in touch. I can't wait to hear more and more about the organization. And on for all those out there listening, I appreciate it as well. We'll catch you on the next episode of Mastering the Numbers. But one final plug for my marketing team, Alyssa and Lisa from Check Off Your List in Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for doing all the hard work to make these podcasts look nice. Um, Cory, take care. I'm sure
thanks,
we'll
Joe.
catch
I
up
appreciate
soon.
it. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Take care. You've just tuned into another episode of Mastering the Numbers. We hope you found valuable insight to boost your financial success. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. Keep pushing forward, and thanks for listening.